Hey there friends, welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp, dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. Today we're going to talk about parenting. This isn't going to be necessarily a fact-filled video like the deep dives that I typically and prefer to do on a lot of my videos. This is more going to be a rant, so if you're not here to hear me rant, click off the video. Because I'm going to let my feelings be heard. You know how a lot of times people, when we talk about gang shootings and things like that, we talk about parenting, rightfully so. We talk about how poor parenting usually leads to the deterioration of society, and more specifically, the way younger people treat themselves. And of course, that is absorbed, and that just moves on to the next generation after theirs, right? It's just a thing that we continue to hand down, disrespect. Also responsibility, also accountability. All these things are handed down. So I think we need to be fair, and if we're willing to associate poor parenting with the gangbangers and the people slinging dope on the street corners, I think we have to be fair about when it happens in nicer families, better families, than just the slums and the ghettos and the gangbangers, right? It's not a race thing. This is simply, I mean, there's obviously multiple different types of races that live in those slum areas, although there are predominant races. But also in some of your nicer areas, there are predominant races as well, but certainly mixed races in that respect as well. So again, this isn't specifically a race thing, even though there are dominant races in some of those classes. I think it's important that we look at potentially, and I believe, poor parenting in the case of this Minneapolis shooting. I do believe parents, well, I mean, it's not a, I mean, you can say it's my opinion. It's a fact that this parent certainly enabled this young killer and allowed him to do what he wanted to do. Now, first thing I'm going to say is there are reports out there, multiple reports, nothing official though, that this mother of this killer has requested that we, the media, I guess if you want to call me part of the media, refer to her son in the preferred pronouns that the mentally ill patient, shooter, killer wanted to be referred to as, meaning a girl, the she's, the hers. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play your game. First of all, your son is a murderer. All of his rights ended when he pulled the trigger for the first time. You know who wishes they could be called anything at this point? Those two young kids who are going to be buried soon, that your son, your boy, murdered. You don't have any high ground to be preaching to us from at this point, Mom. You made a lot of mistakes. And to make demands on us that we refer to your mentally ill patient that you likely helped in a certain way, those rules are not yours to make. I think it's also important that we mention that this same mother has since gotten a criminal attorney to represent her, although she's saying, and through the attorney, that she's done nothing wrong. Now, let me say this real quick, 'cause there's a lot of speculation about the firearms used. Reports are unofficial, official reports that the boy, the killer, purchased these himself, legally, right? Now remember, he was never mentally adjudicated, so legally he could purchase those guns. Was he a mentally ill patient, or not necessarily a patient, but was he a mentally ill person? Yes, clearly, obviously. Since he was never adjudicated, then there was no record of that, which means he could legally purchase, rightfully so, he had every right to do this, firearms that he wanted, and he did. So I think we need to put that out of the way now. When we say legally purchased, some people have speculated that maybe the mother bought them for the son. That did not happen. Again, unofficial, official reports are that the son bought them himself. So the mother is free of that at this point. Now, how did she enable this boy? Well, first of all, and I reported this a couple days ago, when the boy was 17 years old, he wanted to change the name that he went by to Robin. And he wanted to start being referred to as a girl. Red flag. At that point, parents should have stepped in. You don't have to be a complete jerk when your kid shows signs of being mentally ill. the parent could have stepped in and say, nah, we're not doing that. Yeah, we ain't doing that. You're a boy. You're living under my roof. It's how we do things around here. You go off on your own, you pay your own bills, you refer to yourself whatever you want to. You can be a freaking dolphin for all I care. Here, in my house, you are a boy. I'm not signing anything, and I'm not giving you permission to sign anything, but she did. She allowed this boy to act on his mental illness. Instead of recognizing this mental illness as a mental illness, she's been brainwashed by the media and all these other wackos out there that this is okay. Instead of questioning for a moment, I mean, this is her own flesh and blood. Instead of sitting back and questioning, this is not normal, because it ain't. But instead of questioning it and going, wait a minute, now this is happening in my house. My child is pretending. Is this right? Should I do something else? Instead of seeking out help, now granted this is in Minnesota, so a bunch of left-leaning wackos up there anyway, might not have been much help offered to her or that she could have sought out. But regardless, she went along with the game. She went along with the mental illness. See, I say this all the time. Instead of us celebrating mental illness, we should be helping these people. We should be working with them. That was, I don't care how you shape it, that was a cry for help. It may not have been a direct cry for help, but it was certainly an indirect cry for help from that boy. Something's wrong with me. He doesn't know how to ask for help. He's 17. His prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until he's 26. So he's a good 9 years away from his brain being fully developed. He doesn't know what's happening in his body. He's got hormones raging. He's got people whispering in his ear that it's okay to pretend that you're a girl. We'll start doing that. We'll even fill out paperwork for you. This is a confused person. Again, hormones, puberty, all that good stuff. And then on top of that, everybody starts celebrating his mental illness. That's why these people get worse. There's never any corrective action taken whenever these people start showing signs of being mentally ill. That's a problem. We can't sit here and celebrate and hold their hand and walk them down this path of destruction. We should be looking for that fork in the road and going, and you can do this politely, but you know what, son? We're not going to go down that path. We're going to go down this one instead. And you know what? Put your arm around them and say, I'm going to walk that path with you because you are my child and I want what's best for you. Did this mom actually think that there was anything good that would come out of her son and her going along with it, electing to be a woman instead, knowing that that is an impossibility and it cannot happen? Does she not understand that she is setting this kid up for failure down the road? Can she not Google the statistics on these kids offing themselves? Can she not look at the stats and see that they are beating each other up within their own little trans community? That's how they're getting the violence. They make these claims that there's this rash of violence against them, but whenever you look at the numbers, it's their own partners beating them up. It ain't people like us. Can she not take the time to do that? Is she too busy playing bingo or banging some guys at work or something like that? Why could she not see that her son needed help and instead of playing the game, maybe do what's difficult and be a parent for a change? Now, one thing that's mentioned by this nut job in his quote manifesto is that he had thought he had vaped his way into having cancer. Not a lot of people are talking about that. A lot of the stuff that he talked about was that he felt like through all the years that he had been vaping that he had gotten lung cancer somehow, although it was not diagnosed. And he mentioned discomfort, breathing, and different things like that. But I think he was also looking that this act that he was about to commit was his way out. It probably took quite a while for him to vape that much. Again, was this a parent allowing him to do this vaping? Was this a parent letting this kid do things that a normal parent or a good parent might have put their foot down and say, no, we don't do that in this house. No, let's let him do it, right? According to what I could find, there's no therapy pushes, no record of any kind of intervention of any kind regarding mental illness, any kind of substance abuse or anything like that. There was no sign of this parent trying to do something to correct her son's actions. Friends, I want to make something very clear as I close this video out. I'm not in any way taking the responsibility of what happened in Minneapolis away from the rat bastard shooter. I'm not taking anything away from him. He is a killer. He's likely a sociopath. I don't think he's a psychopath. I think if you know the differences, it looks like his environment probably shaped him into what he is. Again, leading more along the lines of a sociopath. They say that psychopaths are born, sociopaths are made. Their environments impact them. So I believe he was a sociopath. Which means he became like this. Which means mom was there the whole time. Now, quick side note, I don't know anything about dad. I don't know where dad is. I don't know if he's in the picture. Certainly no mention of him anywhere. He seems to be escaping any kind of criticism right now, and he deserves equal criticism. Let me just say that and get that out of the way. It ain't just the mom. But the mom seems to be the one that was allowing a lot of screwy stuff to happen. I bet if you go back and look, you're going to find that this kid probably isolated himself in his own bedroom at home, playing video games till 3 o'clock in the morning, didn't get out much, didn't do much, didn't have a whole lot of friends. You're going to find the same old stuff. And I don't know these things, but has all the characteristics of that. So this is going to be another one of those moms that shoved an iPad or a game console in a kid's face to babysit him, right? Not very present in his life. And then again, condoning things. I will say this, from what I've read in some cases, she did warn him when he wanted to change his name to a girl that he would regret this. So it does sound like she recognized that it was not the right thing to do, but she did it anyway. Again, one of those parents who's just trying to placate the child, let them do stupid things, maybe thinking or hoping they'll grow out of it. Well, the kid ain't growing anymore. And so are 2 other kids not growing anymore. In fact, my prayers go out to the little girl. I believe there's an 11-year-old who was shot in the neck, and she's still struggling right now in the hospital. My prayers go out to her. As far as anybody saying that I can or can't pray for anyone, yeah, meet me out back. And you can tell me when and where I can or cannot pray, right? We'll settle this outside. Guys, have a great weekend. I will be back tomorrow with another video. I'm working on some pretty deep dive stuff. That's why this video doesn't have a ton today, because really investing myself in a lot of other stuff out there. Oh, and it's Labor Day weekend, by the way. We do have some company coming tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Guys, if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe to the video, to the channel. And look, if you know somebody like-minded, if you know somebody, another parent who may be struggling with a child, share this video with them. Let them know that, you know, we can sit back on the sideline and let our children do things that are questionable. But at some point, we're going to have to pay the piper. And unfortunately, this mom has to live with the fact that her child, a boy who wanted to be a girl and pretended to be a girl, took the lives of 2 very young 8 and 10-year-old people, and likely an 11-year-old that's struggling right now. And not only that, created this aura of tragedy that a lot of these families and a lot of these little kids are going to have to grow older with and live with for the rest of their lives. Very, very sad. So hopefully there's some parents out there who will listen and realize and start to recognize these little signs and say, I need to intervene in my child's life. Look, you can't be your child's best friend. Sometimes you have to be the bad guy. And sometimes the bad guy means saying no, even whenever that person is emotionally driven to do whatever it is they're seeking to do. No, sometimes is still the right answer. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging